I never thought I would see the day when my garden would be taken over by monster tomatoes. It all started innocently enough, just a few seeds planted in the rich soil of my backyard. I tended to them diligently, watering them every day and making sure they had plenty of sunlight. But as the weeks went by, I noticed that something was not quite right. The tomato plants were growing at an alarming rate, their leaves taking on a strange, almost sinister appearance. And then, one day, I saw it. A tomato the size of a basketball, its skin a deep, dark red that seemed to pulse with a life of its own. I tried to ignore it, telling myself that it was just a fluke, a genetic anomaly. But as the days passed, more and more of these monstrous tomatoes began to appear. They seemed to grow faster than I could keep up with, their vines twisting and turning in every direction, choking out the other plants in my garden. I tried to contain them, to prune back the vines and keep them in check. But it was no use. The monster tomatoes were relentless, their size and strength overpowering everything in their path. And then, to my horror, I realized that they were not just growing in size, they were growing in intelligence as well. I would catch glimpses of them late at night, their glowing red eyes watching me from the shadows. I could hear them whispering to each other, in a language I could not understand, their voices low and menacing. And then, one by one, they began to turn on me. I woke up one morning to find that they had formed a circle around me, their vines reaching out like tentacles, their mouths gaping open to reveal rows of sharp, jagged teeth. I tried to run, but they were too fast, too strong. They dragged me down into the earth, their roots wrapping around my limbs, pulling me deeper and deeper into the darkness. I thought I was done for, that I would never see the light of day again. But then, just when all hope seemed lost, I heard a voice calling out to me. It was my neighbor, Mr. Jenkins, a grizzled old man with a heart of gold. He had seen what was happening in my garden and had come to my rescue. With his trusty shovel in hand, Mr. Jenkins fought off the monster tomatoes, hacking away at their vines and driving them back into the earth. And as the sun rose over the horizon, the last of the tomatoes withered and died, their evil finally vanquished. I thanked Mr. Jenkins profusely, tears of gratitude streaming down my face. He just smiled and patted me on the back, telling me that it was all in a day's work for a seasoned gardener like himself. And as I looked out over my garden, now free from the tyranny of the monster tomatoes, I knew that I owed him a debt of gratitude that could never be repaid. From that day on, I vowed to never underestimate the power of nature again. I would tend to my garden with care and respect, always mindful of the potential dangers that lurked beneath the surface. And as I watched the new plants begin to sprout and grow, I knew that I would never forget the day when monster tomatoes took over my garden.